night was thick, with a suffocating fog that clung to everything it touched. Tom, a delivery driver in his early 30s, sat slouched in the driver's seat of his aging van. The engine's hum was a lullaby he'd grown used to over the years, a monotonous rhythm that carried him through countless late-night shifts. His coffee was lukewarm and bitter, far from the comfort it once provided at the start of the evening. The GPS on the dashboard flickered faintly, its robotic voice guiding him through the winding roads of a nearly forgotten neighborhood. "Turn left in 500 meters, the GPS droned, its tone devoid of warmth or urgency. Tom squinted through the windshield, the fog swallowing the faint glow of his headlights. The clock on the dashboard read 11:47 p.m. He sighed, rubbing his eyes. "My God."
"Hello?"
Tom called, his voice shaky. "Mr. Crow?" Still nothing. The air that seeped from the house was damp and cold, carrying a faint smell of mildew and decay. Tom hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him to leave the package on the doorstep and go, but a nagging sense of obligation kept him rooted. Reluctantly, he stepped inside. The wooden floor groaned under his weight as he crossed the threshold. His phone's flashlight pierced the darkness, casting long, jagged shadows on the walls. Dust motes danced in the beam of light, and the house seemed to close in around him. He set the package down on a small dusty table near the entrance. "I'll just leave this here," he said aloud, more for his reassurance than anything else. As he turned to leave, a faint whisper stopped him in his tracks. "Great," Tom said sarcastically, grabbing the package from the passenger seat. It was small and unremarkable, wrapped in plain brown paper with a name scrawled across the top, Mr. Crow. As he stepped out of the van, the cold night air bit at his skin. The gravel crunched under his boots, the sound unnervingly loud in the stillness. He approached the house, hesitating at the bottom of the creaking wooden steps. Knocking twice, he called out, "Delivery for Mr. Crow." There was no response. Tom shifted uncomfortably, glancing back at the van. Its faintly humming engine felt like a tether to the real world, a fragile connection he was reluctant to sever. He knocked again, harder this time. The door creaked open, just a crack, but enough to make him jump. He peered inside. The interior was shrouded in darkness, with only the faint outlines of furniture visible against the gloom. "Just one more drop-off, then I'm done for the night," he muttered, trying to summon the energy to keep going. The van's tires crunched over gravel as he turned onto a narrow, overgrown road. Trees loomed on either side like silent sentinels, their gnarled branches reaching out as if to ensnare him. The streetlights had disappeared, leaving him alone in the oppressive darkness. Finally, the GPS announced his arrival. "You have reached your destination," it said flatly. Tom slowed the van to a stop in front of a decrepit house. Its facade was a patchwork of rotting wood and peeling paint, and the windows were dark, their curtains drawn like heavy eyelids. The only sign of life was a weak flickering porch light that barely illuminated the front steps. He checked the address on the package and then double-checked it against the faded numbers, barely visible on the house. They matched. The voice was barely audible, stretched and distorted like a tape played at the wrong speed. Tom's breath caught in his throat. He swung his flashlight around, but the beam revealed only empty corners and decaying furniture. Heart pounding, he moved toward the door, his pace quickening. Then he saw it. Hanging on the wall was a large, ornate mirror. His reflection stared back at him. But something was wrong. The figure in the mirror was smiling, a wide, unnatural grin that sent chills down his spine. Tom wasn't smiling. "What the hell?" he whispered, frozen in place. The reflection raised a hand and waved, its movement slow and deliberate. Tom's real hand remained at his side. A spider web of cracks began to spread across the mirror's surface, and a low guttural growl filled the room. Panic overtook him, and he stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. The noise seemed to awaken the house itself. The walls groaned, and the air grew heavy with an oppressive presence. Rumors spread quickly among the local delivery drivers. They spoke of a route that didn't appear on any official map, of a house that seemed to call out to the weary and unwary alike. Some claimed it was a prank. Others swore it was cursed. But one thing was certain. No one who took the delivery ever came back the same. Tom's disappearance became another ghost story, whispered among drivers during late-night shifts. But for those who'd seen the house and lived to tell the tale, the truth was far more terrifying. The house wasn't just cursed. It was alive, and it hungered for those who dared cross its threshold. And somewhere, in the shadows of a forgotten suburb, the house waits, its doors slightly ajar, its porch light flickering like a beckoning finger. A new delivery is always due,